All right, let's talk more Astros now because, guys, opening day is just a few days away. We're all looking forward to it over at Minute Maid Park. Pleasure to be joined by Michael Connor from Sports Talk 790, covers the Astros inside and out. Good to have you in studio, man.
Appreciate it. I'm excited to be here and talk about, the reigning champions doing their thing.
Off-season's over. Spring training is now over. They're wrapping things up on their way back from Florida. Here we go, trying to defend a title. And it's never easy to do that. Now you're looking at a team that's got a couple of issues with injuries, right?
Yeah, but I'd say one of the most banged up spring trainings they've probably had in recent memory here in Houston is, how are they going to get through some of this thing? You're missing your best player at the top of the order up there in Jose Altuve, arguably your best player, of course. But they've always had the next man up mentality. Who's going to be the next man up for them in these spots?
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that you got to worry about the rotation. Hunter Brown had a little bit of a tweak back thing, and you don't know when he's going to be fully ready to give you 5-6 innings out of that rotation. You're going to be relying on your bullpen a lot early. And what happens if one of those starters goes down? Who's next? Do you bring up a guy from AAA that you have almost no experience there? Do you need to trade for someone? Do you need to sign someone? Mm-hmm. There are a few empty spots on this team for someone who is probably the best team in baseball and the defending champs. There are a couple things to be concerned about.
What about Altuve being out right now? How concerning is that? Because even, with the thumb, Chancellor, I'll start with you. When he comes back, he's got to get baseball ready again when he's healthy enough to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about one of the best hitters in baseball. He's the heart and soul of this Astros baseball team. So when you miss him to start the year, it of course affects the top of your lineup there. But coming into the season, I think the Astros are in a prime position to repeat as champions. The one thing for me heading into the season was their health. And before the season even gets started, we're already talking about that there. And of course, Michael Brantley, when does he get back to help out their lineup? But we will see as the season gets ready to start.
Jose Abreu, you guys, let's all weigh in on this move in the offseason. How much damage can he do at Minute Maid Park? His home run total was down last year, but it looks like he's primed for a breakout home run year at Minute Maid Park.
I think you're talking about protection in a lineup. The Chicago White Sox lineup last year, it was not as good as this lineup that he's coming into, even with the injuries that they have now. And we're talking about a player that's going to play in a ballpark, like you mentioned, Randy, that's, it's very conducive with right-handed hitters hitting home runs. I know he's 36 years old, but the hard hit data on him is still extremely good. You would think he's going to have a big year in this lineup.
He's a guy whose max exit velo is the same as kind of it always has been. Mm-hmm. So the home runs down, I don't think concerns me that much. A guy who hit 300, which means you can put him in the lineup anywhere between 2 and 7, and he's going to do damage to this team. Age doesn't really bother me here. You've been trotting out potentially 43-year-old Yuli Gurriel here the last couple of years, right? So 36-year-old Jose Abreu is fine. I think he's a guy that hits for more power. You can put him behind Yordan, Bregman, Tucker. That is a section of the lineup that I think is the best in baseball.
The age doesn't really concern me at all, and I think when you add a guy like that to the lineup, it can make them one of the best lineups in all of baseball altogether.
All right, decisions to be made now. We're going to dive into that right now because they don't play till Thursday. They're done in Florida, guys. They're coming back next couple of days, Constellation Field and Minute Maid Park, but they've still got roster decisions to make. That's what we're going to kind of talk about. We each have an opportunity to weigh in, and you're building some of these graphics we're about to see on the decisions that are going to be made by Dusty Baker here.
26 total spots. It feels like 21 of those 26 are settled. That means that we got about 5 spots left. I'm looking at 3 spots on the offense, 2 spots in the pitching staff. So here's our offensive spots. For all of us guys, we need to pick who's going to be the backup catcher and who are taking the final 2 bench spots outside of that. And then let's take a look at the pitchers. Really only 2 spots left in the bullpen, a long reliever and then just kind of a standard reliever. So let's take a look at the guys who have a shot at making those final 3 offensive spots. Out of this group, who stands out to you guys? Michael, I'll start with you.
Justin Dearden off the top had the best spring of anybody out there. He really made a name for himself. I don't think that the Astros really expected him to go out there and do that necessarily. This is an undrafted player, and we know that as a left-handed bat, Dusty Baker would love to have a left-handed bat. It's going to take Jose Altuve being on the 60-day injured list, then you're going to have to make a decision down the road in terms of 40-man roster. But I think that you can't enter a season without him on this team right now based on the way he played in the spring.
We're going to get deeper into those hitters here in a second. Let's take a look at the pitchers. This one, a much smaller group. 2 spots left, 4 guys. Blake Taylor, I think, might have some trouble. He's just coming off that injury. But let's take a look at who we've got for our final 5. First up, Randy.
All right, I'm going to go with backup catcher. He didn't exactly tear it up, but I feel like he's made enough progress in this offseason. I think Corey Lee is the guy you got to go with right now if you're only going to take one extra catcher. I'm going to go with Corey Lee. I like Durden, the spring he's had. This guy is prime. The way his story just to make it here, I think it's a great story as well. J.J. Matijevic, he's got enough experience for me. Not a ton. Didn't exactly just wow us, but I like the fact he's got some experience. Pretty versatile there in infield and play some outfield for you as well. Blanco, very impressive this spring. He's been basically, lights out under a 1 ERA. I think he's got to be out there, long reliever, maybe a potential starter. And I like Seth Martinez, too. I know the club is very high on him. They feel like his upside is really high. I'm going to go with those 5.
All right, next group. Chancellor.
My time. All right, so for the catcher, I'm going to go with Corey Lee. As you just mentioned, he didn't really wow anybody with his performance. I don't think him or Yanier Diaz did much to separate themselves. And I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of them, if both of them don't make it. But I actually do have Corey Lee making it as the backup catcher. And then Yanier Diaz, I like his versatility, his ability to play first and in the outfield. As you just mentioned to me, the story of kind of the spring training for the Astros is the play of Justin Dearden being one of the undrafted free agents to potentially make this team. And then Seth Martinez with he had some solid outings last year when he did come on the mound for the Astros, and then Ronel Blanco as well, filling out my reliever positions.
All right, next up, it's me.
Your turn.
I like Corey Lee. At catcher, I agree with Chancellor there. I do think that Yanier Diaz has shown enough offense, and he can play catcher, he can play first base. That fills that backup first base role that J.J. Matijevic would fill as the left-handed hitter. Justin Dearden, he is he's friend of the program, and so it pains me to not have him on this list. But Justin Dearden is a left-handed bat. I just do not think you can ignore him. Like Michael mentioned, you 60-day IL Jose Altuve, that leaves a 40-man spot for Dearden. Long reliever and reliever 2, I got Ronel Blanco and Seth Martinez, and I'm going to keep hammering what many might think is an insane point. Ronel Blanco reminds me of kind of a lesser version of Spencer Strider, who is one of the best pitchers in the NL. Same fastball, slider. He doesn't throw quite as hard, but they kind of got that same spin on it, the same release point. Blanco, I think, could surprise people, and Seth Martinez has just been really solid. And Michael, you're 5. Who do you got?
I mean, we're really getting out there here. Corey Lee, of course, going to be the backup catcher. I do think defensively the better option behind the plate than Yanier Diaz. Diaz, the versatility, like you mentioned, Chancellor, is, I mean, he can play first base, play a little bit of outfield, play the catcher spot. Dearden spring, I mean, just the way Dusty Baker's talked about him, I just can't see a world where Dusty's not putting him on this roster. Ronel Blanco, hey, if he turns into Spencer Strider, the Astros have one set right there. I know he's an older prospect, but the way he pitched in the Winter League and then he's continued this into the spring and they've stretched him out now, I think he's the first option to make starts if they need somebody to make a start. And then Seth Martinez, Randy, like you said, they're high on him. He's got a great slider. I think he pitched really well last season. I would be shocked, honestly, if he's not on the team.
And I left Diaz off my list, not because I don't like him. I just think he would do more productive if he's playing every day down at AAA. Just continue to develop a little bit more and then bring him up. That was my only deal because I like Yanier Diaz a lot. I think he's got a big upside.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that might be the jewel of that trade, the Miles Straw, Phil Maton trade that they made with the Cleveland, at the time, Indians, now Guardians. And he could turn into a long-term catcher, and then the Astros sort of have a deeper catcher organizational depth than you would think they do. I like Cesar Salazar a lot. I think that at some point this year, injury, something like that could happen. We might see Cesar up at Minute Maid.
All right, real quick, 30 seconds. AL West, Astros still a team to beat. Everybody agree on that?
Astros team to beat. Seattle's going to be an issue, though.
Of course, like they have been as of lately. But to me, the Astros, not just the team to be in the AL West, but in all of the American League.
Yeah, Seattle and Texas still has work to do, but Texas spent a lot of money. I think the win total at least is going to go up. I think they're going to be more competitive.
I think the Astros not only a team to beat in the West, they're the team to beat in the AL. I think they run through the AL. Like typically, the NL is where the battle is. There's like 6 super good teams on the other side.
All right, baseball season just a few days away. Get ready for it. Starts on Thursday at Minute Maid Park against the White Sox. Michael Connor, Sports Talk 790, Astros Insider. Hey, thanks for hanging out, man. We'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.